Know what's crazy? Meghan Markle played the fame game like a seasoned pro, despite having previously claimed that she didn't Google her own husband before dating him. It's all coming back to haunt her now. Because Tom Bower isn't just playing tricks. He's been destroying meticulously manicured reputations for a living. He is revealing what may be the largest public relations charade of the decade. First, let's look at the picture Meghan created. There is evidence of it everywhere. The underdog, the mixed-race girl from a difficult home who broke down barriers and was married into the world's most rigid institution. It was marketable, emotive, and captivating. Bower, however, said that it was more overproduced and less underdog. A chessboard consisting of deliberate plays, smart handshakes, and carefully abandoned individuals who no longer served a purpose, not a march from struggle to royalty. The kicker is this. Bower did not only conjecture. He located Meghan's old acquaintances, previous co-workers, and even Trevor Ingleson, her first husband. Furthermore, he presents a picture of a person who is more fixated on leverage than loyalty. Relationships weren't connections. They were ladders. Climb, disconnect, and repeat. And that's a well-known trend in Hollywood. Arrive with a smile, make a good impression, and then leave when someone more helpful enters the room. Imagine all of that with a royal title on top of it. Things truly go nuclear there, because Bower is accusing Meghan of constructing her entire regal identity on lies, in addition to being ambitious. The naive girl who was ignorant of royal life, the victim of frigid palaces and rude courtiers, the mental anguish, the fairy tale she fed Oprah. As stated by Bower, history is being rewritten. The really shocking thing is that he says Meghan was fully aware of Prince Harry's identity, what he stood for, and the kind of international access that would come with being his bride. It was no ordinary blind date. This was a brilliant professional move. And poor Harry, Bower didn't simply fall in love if his research is correct. He was played. For someone who might have viewed him more as a project than a partner, he sacrificed his family, his titles, and the majority of his public goodwill. That is legacy damage, not only emotional manipulation. Because Harry didn't simply leave, he burnt every bridge on his way out of the company. Meghan's empire, however, is beginning to falter. Her contract with Spotify ended. On ICE, Netflix projects, let's just say that selling authenticity when receipts are flying in your face is difficult for the lifestyle brand she is attempting to establish in Montecito. Was any of it real? Is the question now being asked by the same audience that once viewed her as the truth-teller? The thing that hurts Meghan the most is this. She has no influence over this story. Bower isn't responding well to her typical PR strategies, which include manufactured images, passionate speeches, and victimization. He is not a player. By the laws of Hollywood, he doesn't want a seat at her table or an interview. He seeks the truth. And all the well-written press releases in the world won't help you when someone like that gets involved. According to insiders, she is currently plummeting, spiraling without crying in the corner. We're talking mayhem with lawyer calls and angry email blasting. She wants this to stop, but the media smells blood, so the more she pushes, the louder it gets. And the collapse is quick once you lose the authority on which you established your brand. And believe me, this is only the start. Hollywood doesn't concern for the truth. Optics are important to it. Meghan's optics are also radioactive at the moment. Instead of walking headlines, studios prefer bankable stars. Instead of lawsuits and exposees, brands choose safe faces. Doors stop opening when your name is associated with manipulation rather than empowerment. That's precisely what's taking place. Tom Bower exploded a brand in addition to writing a book. Meghan used to get discounts on a velvet platter, but those are now drying up. The CEOs, who were enamored with her voice, are now discreetly ignoring her representatives. Spotify terminated the service. Netflix is stalling. The Sussex's alleged impact engine, Archwell, is losing employees more quickly than they can share another Instagram phrase about mental wellness. It's pandemonium behind the scenes. Meetings were cancelled, staff members described meltdown energy, and legal teams were terrified of what Bower would say next. Meghan is not the only one who is collapsing. Harry finds himself in the middle of things. Whatever remaining popular favor he has is eroded by each new disclosure. Imagine being the guy who disparaged your family on a global TV show, only to discover that your wife may have been changing her life story all along. Individuals are now asking more than just Meghan's questions. They are doubting Harry's integrity, judgment, and fortitude. King Charles and Prince William aren't celebrating, but they're also not exactly crying, according to palace insiders. This instability validates all the firm has been through, which is why Buckingham is emanating a peculiar serenity. Asterisks have been added to the charges of racism, cruelty, and emotional maltreatment. Meghan's charges are also untrue if her tale isn't, and this feels like the weightlifting for a royal family that has been struggling to improve its image since Diana's passing. It's a cruel irony. Meghan constructed in the entire platform being misinterpreted. She revealed to the public that she had been bullied, silenced, and stifled. But now that the facts are coming to light, that story is falling apart like a house of cards. And she replied, more spin, more control. She's making media appearances and playing victim more than ever before. However, the public stops believing the PR spiel once they are exposed to the unvarnished facts, which is why it isn't working. According to insiders, Meghan is considering starting a counter-documentary that would highlight her side of the story. However, the issue is that too much has already been seen. Another soft-lit admission won't be enough to reverse a reputational fall. Not with Tom Bower's paper trail, testimony, and timestamps. And it's not just the media that keeps an eye on charities, brands, and business associates. They all observe how you respond to emergencies. At the moment, Meghan is managing it as though she were a CEO whose stock is plunging and whose first reaction is to yell at the interns. That's not being a leader. Panic is that. Additionally, people remember how you treat others when the cameras are not rolling in a relationship-based sector. However, this is where things get hazardous, because people like Meghan don't back down in silence when they sense the walls closing in. They conspire, they strike back, and that's what Hollywood is whispering at the moment. That she has a major thing planned, a lawful action, a strike by the media. Perhaps even a scorched earth grenade directed directly at Bower or the royals. However, what if that doesn't work out? What if more of her former acquaintances come forward? What if other documents are leaked? What happens if Harry, who has already been humiliated, begins to doubt the reality that he has built his entire identity around? In actuality, Meghan has always been ahead of the curve. She's currently playing catch-up, though. Furthermore, one mistake in this kind of limelight can terminate one's career in addition to being embarrassing. Tom Bower's disclosures feel like a gut shot to Meghan's enterprise for a reason. It's because they target control, which is where it hurts the most. She has benefited from controlling the plot arcs, lighting, and angles for years. Now, however, the pen is in the hands of someone else. Even worse, when her legal team starts yelling, that person doesn't bat an eye. The fallout is becoming a slow-motion disaster. Meghan's camp is in disarray. Editor calls, favor requests, and desperate emails pleading for PR repair. It's all taking place behind closed doors. However, the harm extends beyond one's reputation. Because Meghan's hold isn't simply fading on the general public, it's emotionally charged. Harry is losing it. She is unable to pay for that portion. He appears to be broken. Not merely perplexed or offended, broken. The type of silence that descends when your entire identity begins to seem to be a deception. According to friends, he ceased to defend her in private. That he is reclusive. That he's too tired to fight now. The man who once battled the British press over a single headline. Meghan may be accustomed to criticism, but she's aware that Harry is not prepared for this type of breakdown. It's not Bower's book that frightens her the most. That's what would happen if Harry opened his eyes at last. Because everything she has built, her brand, personality, and power, collapses without him. She wouldn't be a duchess without Harry. She isn't the woman who left the throne out of love. It doesn't sell that she's just another famous person embroiled in a scandal. The media is buzzing. Producers are retreating. Brands that used to line up to align themselves with Meghan's image are now avoiding her like she's radioactive. Additionally, Monarchy, which was once her haven of reinvention, is beginning to resemble a glass house. Photographers lurk, employees leak, and neighbors gossip. In order to safeguard the story, she constructed a fortress. Now the story poses a threat. What is her next course of action? She can retreat, but she won't be satisfied. Meghan is not a fan of fadeaways. It's conceivable that she will attempt to relaunch, rebrand, and possibly even play the ultimate card: vulnerability. Tears, redemption, a dramatic, unvarnished interview. Comeback stories are popular in America, but they only work if the fall seems genuine. Additionally, Meghan's fall currently feels planned rather than earned. No one is showing sympathy. They are sneering, observing, and passing judgment. Bauer isn't finished yet. According to insiders, he is holding on to additional statements, receipts, pictures, and anecdotes. Meghan is capable of retaliating, but each action she does increases his significance. He becomes more real the louder she yells, and she's stranded on that chessboard. There is a trap in every square. The last twist. The royal family. By doing nothing, the very individuals Meghan portrayed as villains are ultimately winning. Quiet, composed, and majestic, they simply keep going with their heads held high, allowing the storm to pass over them while Meghan drowns in headlines. After all they needed to do was wait. One interview, one lawsuit, or one headline did not bring down Meghan's empire. It was